Everybody, we are back. It is Tips on Last Favorites podcast, favorites channel, favorites everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also, follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at Glen Rockney for Glenn. And of course, it is pandasubs.com. Discount code TDL for 35% off. All right, so it is Friday Night Live, guys. We are back. We got your Raiders odds and bets for today, the over-unders. And, of course, we're talking about the latest Raiders news that is happening around. And, of course, get ready for this game versus the Broncos. So, Glenn, how you feeling, man? How you feeling?
Oh, just over here rooting for Jameis Winston to win in the snow so we could jump them in the draft. That's where we're at right now. Feels bleak, but only 6 weeks left, right? So let's see where we are.
Yeah. We ain't got that much time left in the season. It's draft season. I mean, it's almost Thanksgiving, so it's almost the final stretch of the NFL season. NFL goes by so damn quick. I mean, college football is almost over.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's like there's 1 week left of college football.
Pretty much. I mean, you got then you're at conference championship mode, so that's nuts.
Yeah, and then it's a college football playoff. We're gonna see how that goes. So we're gonna do some college bets today as well. But I mean, other than that, I mean, the Raiders are 2-8, right? I mean, there's really no hope in sight, really. I mean, it's hard to find a win on the schedule. To be honest, as we'll see how these guys do. I'm pretty sure they'll steal one. I mean, they got the Broncos this week. I know that there's a lot of Broncos hype, a lot of Broncos dick riding. I see from Raiders fans.
Yeah, they're Knicks riding.
Yeah. A lot of nut hugging. The Broncos from Raiders fans was super interesting. I mean, I know that we're trying to I guess get ready for this game and get hype about not having a quarterback to draft. But I don't know how the Raiders are supposed to draft Bo Nix. I mean, it wasn't really a thing they could have done. I don't think the Broncos, I mean, unless they trade up to 10 or something, but I don't know. They probably didn't like Bo Nix as much as the Broncos did. But we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of Bo Nix hype, but I'm interested in this game because I kind of do want to shut up this hype, but we'll see what the Raiders do.
Would you really ask yourself, Raider Nation? I understand we are starving. We are Tyrone Biggums scratching our necks for quarterbacks right now. I get it. Really ask yourself, zoom out a little bit, just put your hysteria to the side. Would you really rather have Bo Nix over Brock Bowers right now? Like I come on. I don't think that. Look, this is a season. We understand we're going through the trials and tribulations. We're gonna have to go get our guy. And I would rather have Brock Bowers plus our guy than Bo Nix, who clearly he's Sean Payton's guy and he's operating his offense really well. I don't have a bad thing to say about him, but the big knock on Bo Nix was how good can he be, not will he be any good. And Bo Nix is operating the offense well. He went to college for 15 years, so he's able to do it. But does anyone see like greatness out of Bo Nix? I see like an Alex Smith, which that's good. I would take that most years. But I think it's in a couple years, it's going to look pretty good that the Raiders took a generational pass catcher in the draft over Bo Nix. Not over Bo Nix, but in the draft that Bo Nix got taken.
Yeah, Bo Nix is playing, I guess, better than people expected, but not too much better than I expected. He always was a kind of an accurate passer to certain levels of the field. He still doesn't throw deep very well right now. So, yeah, Raiders fans just wanted any quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Who knows if Bo Nix is the same without Sean Payton designing all these screens and throwing, because he threw like 3 touchdowns on wide receiver screens last week, and he's like, 4 touchdowns. You know what I mean? And I know he threw for 300 yards, but if you can't get any pressure on him, he can pick you apart. But I don't know. It was interesting to see. It was over the timeline, man. People just nut hugging Bo Nix and the Broncos, and I just feel like it's just not very Raider like. That's all. Sometimes I see Raiders fans on Twitter and they're like trying to make a point, and I'm just like, man, but you're still a Raiders fan. So why are we nut hugging the Broncos?
Chargers have Harbaugh. Broncos have Bo Nix. Oh, I'd wish I'd be anywhere other than a Raiders fan right now. Look, I've been there. It happens. We don't know. We don't know. Again, this is the Raiders are having the season that they haven't had in a long time, and they haven't been a very good team, but they haven't just flat out just crashed out, bottomed out like they are right now. We're gonna see what that yields. And I think last year they did a pretty good job of getting something out of a draft that didn't go their way as far as getting a quarterback. It just didn't go their way. It was not in the cards. And I think they did
Yeah.
a good job staying patient and taking maybe a guy that might end up being, I mean, yeah, positional value skewed, but we're talking about a guy who's got 700 yards right now
I know.
that they took. And and people just can't stop him
Yeah, it is kind of crazy how good he is so
with
far.
Minshew, with Gardner Minshew.
That's the thing, man. It's like that's my thing too. It's like you guys really wanted to trade up for Bo Nix. I don't think anybody. See, the thing is, nobody really expected Bo Nix to go in the first round. So to see him go there at 12, I mean, even nobody really expected Michael Penix to go in the first round, right? So to see those two kind of go in the first round, I think was a surprise to everybody. So that's the thing. So like, yeah, is Bo Nix playing decent in the offense? Yes, I think it's a
Yeah.
little. It depends on the week, right? I mean, you watch him against the Ravens, he didn't play well, and you watch him against the Bucks, he does look good. You watch him against the the Falcons last week, he looks really good. It's a little bit up and down right now. I mean, he's a rookie quarterback, but yeah, I mean, it would do me good just to see the Raiders just kind of shut these Broncos hype up. It's everywhere. The Broncos are Sean Payton's the greatest coach in the world, and
Yeah.
Colin Cowherd was saying like Bo Nix is better than somebody. I don't know who he was saying, but it was crazy. Like he said, I would take Bo Nix. I'm like, bro, y'all need to relax. So that's why I want the Raiders to win this game, and I know it has a lot to do with the draft picks and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just don't want the Broncos hype to continue, and I don't want them to make the playoffs either. I don't want to see the Broncos. I don't want to see the Broncos and the Chargers in the playoffs. I don't see the Broncos, Chiefs, and Chargers in the playoffs. Me personally, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah.
So,
No, I agree. I agree.
If the Raiders are gonna sacrifice one game for draft picks, is this one? Keep these dudes. Let the Colts win this week. Let the Colts upset the Lions. Broncos lose. Let's get these guys out of the playoffs. I don't want to see that shit. I really don't.
It's a nice preview to our NFL picks about those Colts and Lions. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm torn because I'm fully embracing the tank. I'm not saying I'm rooting for them to lose. The minute that the whistle play, the minute the ball goes in the air for the kickoff, I'm going to be a rabid Raider fan that wants them to win. I can't actively watch them and want them to lose. I guess like best case scenario, like where not everybody wins in this scenario, is that it's just a low scoring game. They shut down the Broncos offensively and maybe just something goes haywire with Minshew, because I'm fine with the Raiders just losing out.
Yeah.
If I just watch Gardner Minshew just not be good, I'm like, well, it's easy to point to that. I'm like, okay, they lost. He sucks. That's the answer. Wipe my hands clean of the dust. But yeah, it's the Broncos. It sucks that the losing streak. That to me, that was when the season was over. To me, was when they lost to the Broncos the first time, because that was the team that was your doormat, even as a team that was a doormat. Like the Raiders are a doormat, I should say. The Broncos were the one team that you had any kind of real superiority over, and losing to them, especially throwing that pick six in the end zone, not to relive that or anything, but just going like, oh no, they're trash. Like the Raiders are trash right now.
Yeah.
So that was embarrassing. But right now they're 2-8, and you got Tommy DeVito starting for the Giants.
Tommy DeVito.
Daniel Jones is gone. I'm sure we'll get a question about Daniel Jones. But then you got the Jags and the Titans ahead of the Raiders. They still have two matchups against each other. You hope they split. And although to be honest, yeah, you hope Tennessee wins both of those, and Jacksonville's just fine with Lawrence. But that's just where we are. I mean, are we going to remember this season 3 years from now, Marcus?
No.
If we have the guy we get? No, that's the way I look at it. Probably not.
No, and I'm with you. I'm not really want the Raiders to keep winning games so they can get a high draft pick, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Just something about it. I just didn't feel this way. I just saw like all the Raiders fans just not
Right.
liking it was just too much. It was too much. But the Tommy DeVito thing is funny because they really put the Italian guy in like just to get the fans, just get people
He
in the
is gonna
building.
win one random ass game for sure. Like it's almost government mandated at this point that he comes in and like beats a team that's maybe like evenly matched, or maybe it might be Tampa this weekend. I could see randomly them beating Tampa randomly. I don't know. Evans is back, but they could do that. And the Giants defense, like they still have Dexter Lawrence who could just wreck a game, at any time, and they could do that. So it sucks, but last year I ignored I didn't want to tank, and I was wrong about that. I mean, not that they should have, but we're in a weirder position. We're in a worse position now, not doing that, objectively.
Yeah. It's just funny that ended up happening. So a couple of things we're talking about today. We're talking about. I saw a question about. I saw somebody comment about Andre James. We talked about JPJ is going to be starting at center. We're talking about how the Raiders have no running backs this week, which is going to be super interesting. Do we see some Dylan Lobby? I don't know, dude.
Wow, who else are you going to see? Is it Sincere McCormick? I'd like to see Sincere McCormick personally.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we probably should see some Dylan Lobby this week. I would like to see some Dylan Lobby because, like I said, they are 2-8. So
Yeah.
why are we playing the 32-year-old?
Let's see the whole draft class. Let's see the whole draft.
Right? I mean,
We're gonna get to Cameron Richardson, who is an interesting guy, and we should get Dylan Labe, who that was a bad fumble.
Yeah, right.
Bad fumble, and that was the game they won.
That's funny. Yeah, exactly. But the point is though, like he's a young guy. Like, why are we playing the 32-year-old?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get into that a little bit, talk about that, and then of course, talk Broncos, talk over-unders, all that good stuff. So we got a couple questions here before we get started here. Ben wanted to ask this hypothetical. Would you take 2024 Trevor Lawrence over this draft class of QBs?
Over all of them? I guess the answer, or the question to rephrase it, is would Trevor Lawrence go number 1 overall in this draft over Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward? I say no, but that's kind of. But we've also had a look at Trevor Lawrence. Like, he was about as slam dunk as anybody coming out of a prospect. I don't think Jacksonville's a great situation for a quarterback, but also I remember the knock on Trevor Lawrence. The one knock, there was the fumbling, I think was a knock, but also the other one was kind of like he never really seemed like he wanted it that bad at Clemson. Like he was this like sociopath, like Brady like guy. He did.
Yeah.
They would always say he was just kind of a very talented, big, strong guy that was at a good program and played really well. And that's something the Raiders are going to have to look at in the draft. And I don't know if Jacksonville was able to see that or not, or if they, or if any team was able to see that or not. But hindsight is 2020. But it kind of looks like that might be the case with Jacksonville. I really like Shedeur Sanders, and even my trepidation over Cam Ward is not because I don't think Cam Ward doesn't love football. I actually think Cam Ward is an absolute competitor.
Yeah.
I think he has some weird things that I think could play his NFL team, whichever team that is, out of some games with some early turnovers that I don't think he'll be able to come back from in the NFL. But I think both of those guys, Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, love football more than Trevor Lawrence. And we're seeing what happens when guys don't love football that come in and play quarterback. It doesn't usually go well.
Yeah. I guess this question's kind of tough for me because I would lean towards Trevor Lawrence just because, more because I've seen him in the NFL. I kind of know what is.
I think he means if Trevor Lawrence was coming out this year, though.
If he's coming out?
I think that's what they mean. I don't think it means if you had the opportunity to acquire Trevor Lawrence. I think it means if he was in this draft class.
Yeah. Because see, when Trevor was coming out, I mean, that was the thing is that like he was just so set up with a great team.
Yeah.
I mean, he had like a great offensive line. He had
ETN.
He had, on the defense. I mean, that's when they had like Cleveland Farrell and
Christian Wilkins,
Dexter Lawrence.
Studs.
Yeah, studs.
Tanner Muse. How dare you forget Tanner Muse?
AJ Terrell.
Don't forget Tanner Muse, dude. Tanner Muse was the glue of that Clemson team.
Yeah, Tanner Muse.
Yeah.
uh,
Top
uh,
100 pick Tanner Muse. Yeah.
I mean, it's just I could keep going with the players that they had on that team.
Oh,
And I mean, I think T. Higgins too. T. Higgins he was doing T. Higgins, wasn't he? Yeah, T. Higgins he was throwing too.
yeah.
He was just on a stacked team. And
Yeah.
a lot of the things that you saw for him coming out were kind of hidden by him being on this stacked ass football team. And the fumbles was the biggest thing for me. When I mean mentioned that when he was coming out that he every time you hit him he fumbles, and that's carried on to the NFL. But I don't know. It's kind of hard because the thing is as a prospect. Okay, so if I compare him to these other guys, he's faster than Ward, or just as fast as Ward, right? He's kind of like around there. He throws. He has a better arm than Ward, right? He has a better arm than Sanders.
He has a better arm than Cam Ward.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, he does. He has a better arm than Cam Ward. Um, I mean, they're similar. I wouldn't go too far and say.
I think Cam Ward's got that like Carson Palmer, just like dart that he can bring.
Because I think Jalen Monroe has a better arm than Cam Ward.
Now you're talking. Now you're
Right.
talking.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think like Trevor Lawrence is closer to Milroe than Ward. So I don't know. It'd be tough for me because I just feel like Trevor Lawrence as a prospect, because he's also taller. He's 6'4".
Big
You
guy.
know, he's like 6'4". He's like, you know, he's a little skinnier though. He's like 6'4", 215, but still just as a prospect. Like if you're like as a quarterback prospect, I still like Lawrence. Just the idea of Lawrence is worse than what we've seen of Lawrence. So
I see.
I guess like it would be hard for me to kind of say that, you know, Shadur Sanders is a better prospect than Trevor Lawrence. Just
And I guess
the build. Yeah, go ahead.
And I guess in the comments he was saying trading for Trevor. So you were right initially, trading for Trevor Lawrence. On that note, I say no, because I think that's a second round pick and his contract. I would much rather roll the dice with the rookie deal. Sorry.
Yeah, isn't he like almost 60 million or something?
Yeah, and the guy just got paid this year. They're keeping him. I mean, they're keeping him, and their next hire is going to be the guy that fixes Trevor Lawrence. Not fixes, but elevates Trevor Lawrence, I guess would be the thing. Because I don't think he's that bad. And I think Trent Baalke's the problem in Jacksonville. They draft horribly.
Yeah.
Like they reach on every player there. It's very Mike Mayock-y, except if Mike Mayock was all about freak athletes, that's what Jacksonville does. But these guys, it's just a bunch of guys that don't really know how to play football. So that's Jacksonville's sticking with him, in my opinion. So, but yeah, I would not trade for Trevor Lawrence if the Raiders had like the number 1 pick. I would trade for Trevor Lawrence if the Raiders had the 22nd pick. I would,
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. Is there a better second round QB and get Travis in the first round?
That's an interesting scenario that I've thought about. And you're talking about Travis Hunter, I'm assuming.
Yes.
That is an interesting scenario, because what if I told you could get Quinn Ewers in the second round and Travis Hunter in the first?
I can't stand keeping Quinn Ewers.
Okay, so you can't stand him. Okay, who's a quarterback in the second round that you think, like, let's say Curtis Rourke doesn't have like the greatest game against Ohio State, and he's a second round pick, and you had Travis Hunter and Curtis Rourke, or other way around, I don't know a lot of the skill position players quite yet from the draft. You had Shadur Sanders or Cam Ward, and then a Xavier Restrepo or something.
Yeah, because I could see Curtis Rourke being like a second round guy. I mean, the season's not over, and
he might, if he balls out tomorrow, he's a first round pick.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like there's just those type of things. And I don't know how big his arm is. That's the thing with Curtis Rourke.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Okay,
pretty good.
So I haven't really got around to watching him yet.
Yeah.
So that's what it's about with me, is like how big his arm is, because he's got the size and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's how big is his arm will determine where he goes. Because I think like if he's the type of guy that probably have to go to the Senior Bowl and the kind of the All-Star games to kind of show his talent compared to everybody else, and show his arm talent and things like that, for people to kind of get an idea of him. So, but I mean that is a second round type of guy, because he doesn't have that buzz right now.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but Travis Hunter and him, that's not a bad haul in my opinion.
See, the thing is, like, that's the thing with Tom Telesco, right? It's so, essentially took Brock Bowers, right? He took Brock Bowers. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a possibility he takes Travis Hunter.
I don't think there is,
You
because
don't think there
they're
is?
they're
Okay.
2-8, and let's say that I think maximum the Raiders are a 4-win team. Let's be real. I see a maximum of 2 more wins on the schedule, maximum, and that's them stealing one and everything. Tom Telesco does not become the first-year GM. He becomes the second-year GM coming off a 4-win season drafting. I think he is going to take a quarterback in the first round.
Okay.
I think that's something you do as insurance as a GM. Like it's just different, right? It's kind of like what he did with Herbert, right? The Chargers were picking top 5. They took the quarterback. You
Yeah.
know, that's or whenever they took Herbert. I think it was top 5.
Yeah. 2020.
Yeah. He took Herbert at that point because they had the high pick. I think he understood. He's like, I have a high pick for a reason. We stink. And he took Justin Herbert. I think if they're picking in the top 5, which I think that's pretty locked in, top 7, you know, at the most. Yeah, so 6th overall is I'm saying right there. So yeah, if he's in that range, I think they're taking a quarterback, but it is a fun exercise to think about. Travis Hunter or even what's the guy even like a lineman or something, like the guy lineman from LSU that's got all the buzz. Like you go generational first round and then you get a system fit quarterback in the second round. Like all fans would freak out night 1 of the draft. Freak out. I mean, I don't think we would. I think it would be weirder. It would be worse, not worse, but the freak out and overreaction would be bigger than Cleveland Farrell 4th overall.
Yeah.
Because of what fans have had to go through for the year. You were supposed to reward me with a top 5 quarterback, Tom Telesco. And then if they went in and grabbed that quarterback, basically what they did in 2014, if they did that, where they took Khalil Mack, generational talent, Derek Carr, whatever you think of Derek Carr, in the second round, that might not excite fans, but it's a fun exercise to think about.
Yeah. It's just the thing is, like, the NFL's not as high on these quarterbacks as I think.
You think so?
The media and people are. Yeah, I could just kind of tell. It's not that. It's not the type of thing where, like, the NFL is like saying these guys are going to go 1 and things like that. So that's gonna be the interesting part of how Tom Telesco evaluates these guys. Because to be fair, I mean, none of these guys are Justin Herbert as a prospect, and I didn't like Justin Herbert as a prospect
No, I agree.
as much. Because I mean, I did like when he was like a sophomore. But like, his final year wasn't very good, but there's still some crazy talent. He's still huge. He runs really fast. I mean, there's a lot of things to really like about him. It's not the same type of prospect, right? In this draft like that, the draft really early. So that's what it's going to be. Interesting decision for Tom Telesco. Yeah, but you're right. I think people will freak out if they take Travis Hunter.
I think Travis Hunter would soften the blow because of how, like, Travis Hunter is a Heisman candidate, you know, like so it's not like, I think if they take a tackle from LSU, that's when people would freak out. Yeah. Like if they did, which, you know, I would kind of freak out a little bit, but I would think he was pretty good, you know, or I don't, again, the draft is as far, or Abdul Carter or something, you know what I mean? Like one of these guys, let's just say they like just latch on to one of these guys and they're like, and the guy is as good as he's billed or whatever. It is interesting when you pick that high in the draft, because you do have basically a second to first round pick. You're basically picking as though you won the Super Bowl in the second round. You know, it's a late first round. You could even trade back up in the first round. What the Ravens, that's kind of what the Ravens did, if I'm not mistaken, to get Lamar Jackson, to trade up from the second round pick. You have that Devontae Adams pick. That'd be a great use of the Devontae Adams pick, is to move up back into the first round, you know, and draft your quarterback. It's an interesting thought. It's not just cut and dry. Right now, we don't know how the draft is going to fall, and fans are acting like we do.
Yeah. That's the crazy part. We don't know exactly how it's going to fall or who the Raiders are going to like at quarterback. You know, that's good. That's the thing too.
And also how much of a done deal is Shador to the Vegas? Because I think people are talking that up like it's already happening. But what if Antonio Pierce is fired? Is it happening then? I don't buy the Deion Sanders head coach of the Raiders next year. I don't buy that. So I just am like, what if Tom Telesco's like, no, I like this guy more. I like Jalen Milroe more, which I'm starting to get there, by the way. I'm starting.
I like Milroe too, though. I do.
Man, I'm like that. He's just, to me, shoot for the stars. I think you shoot for the stars with Milroe.
Yeah, I agree. Is Daniel Jones better than QB Minshew?
Yes, he is, but it's useless to do it right now.
Yeah. I don't even want to touch Daniel Jones, because
A playoff team should be signing Daniel Jones as a backup right now. Minnesota Vikings, LA Rams, perhaps, if they were to like go on a run towards the end. The Arizona Cardinals, you know what I mean? These are teams that should be signing Daniel Jones as their backup.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of answered this question. I mean, yeah, it would be hard for him to resist drafting Travis Hunter, especially if we don't know who their coach is.
Exactly, and if it's Vrabel, which is the early rumors right now, I'm not putting any stock into them. You telling me Mike Vrabel's gonna hate that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's not.
He's gonna be like sick. Yeah.
All right. So this is a good question because we can transition to one of our topics here. JPJ is starting at center, so there's a real possibility to move on from Andre James in the offseason. So JPJ has stole the job from Andre James. The Andre James era is over. I know there's a lot of Raiders fans who are happy about that. Definitely to see Andre James healthy and on the bench makes a lot of Raiders fans feel pretty damn good. I know they're excited to see that. JPJ has been playing pretty decent at center. He had a great game against the Bengals. A little bit up and down this past week, but definitely a pretty damn good player overall at center. But Andre James is on the bench. What do you think about that? JPJ being fully at center at this point.
This is what I want to see for the rest of the year. I want to see the young guys play. I mean, if I'm Tom Telesco, I'm almost banging the table. Like, let me keep my job because I want to see the guys I drafted play. I think James is a trade chip in the offseason. I think some team likes there's going to be a team that likes him. I think he's we don't like him, and he gets overpowered by big defensive tackles. But I could see a team trading like a day 3 pick for him or something in the offseason. Yeah. You know, a 4th, 5th round pick or something. I absolutely could see that. And to me, I think JPJ is best at center. I think he actually has his highest upside. I still can't get over on your breakdown where just kind of the snapping and then finding work with the snap hand so easy. That's just stuff that you don't see out of everybody that comes out. And I think with Meredith and Parham, who, you know, Parham got whooped a little bit in the last game.
He did.
Just a little bit. So I'm pumping the brakes on maybe the Parham extension, but you have Meredith there, and perhaps you can build a young interior on this offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have the opportunity to kind of build something there with the offensive line, kind of have some continuity there. I think that's gonna be a big thing for them. They got to figure that out where exactly they want to go with this offensive line. You know, Colt Miller was amazing last week. I think, you know, he's right back to normal. DJ Glaze has played pretty decent for a 3rd round right tackle. You know, like Meredith has played. I think Meredith struggled a little bit last week, but I think they struggled in the interior a little bit altogether. All 3 of those guys. They kind of got beat up a little bit this past week, but I think they have a chance to play better this week. I mean, they do got some tough guys coming. You know, Zach Allen's coming, and some of those guys. The Broncos defensive line is pretty damn good. But it's exciting to see, you know, the Raiders have a center that kind of knows what they're doing, though. I think it helps the quarterback. I think Minshew with JPJ has played better. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but it's very true. Minshew has played better with JPJ at center. Like, just the ball getting out quicker. He's not. Yeah. I mean, he's still taking stupid ass sacks, but I mean, he's able to get the ball out a little quicker. Things able to develop quicker because the ball's getting to him faster. You know, somebody that understands the center position. Somebody's a leader there. So I think it really affects the quarterback, right? I think it's a big thing. You think about some of the great quarterbacks you can think of. They all had great centers, and it's like it's a real thing. The center's like super underrated. You know, look at Jason Kelce used to do for Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Jeff
things.
Jeff Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, you can even go Rodney Hudson and Derek Carr, right? You know how good Derek Carr was playing when he had Rodney Hudson. Those things really matter, and you know, having a center like that is huge. So JPJ coming in and becoming that guy, I think, is big for one, our outlook of Tom Telesco drafting.
Sure.
Because, you know, you got Brock Bowers, right? Who is obviously the Raiders' hit, right? Probably like the biggest hit that they've had in years.
Since Khalil Mack.
Since Khalil Mack, which so 10 years. The other way, 10 years where the Raiders hit on a 1st round draft pick again. which is exciting. That's pretty hilarious, but also just the outlook of how this Raiders team has been in the first round. That's what Tom Telesco is. I mean, Tom Telesco brings that element of them actually being that type of team where they can build from the first round and draft quality players. And that's the big thing for this team. And they got to draft quality guys, try to keep building on this team and keep this team a little bit younger and have some of those things keep working out for the Raiders because a lot of the veteran guys on this team that they're gonna start falling off, right? All these guys like the John Jenkins, some of these older guys probably gonna get rid of Marcus Epps, right?
Sure.
I mean, I don't know who happens with Divine Diablo. I don't think Diablo comes back. You see Robert Spillane comes back. It's gonna be interesting to see how they kind of rebuild this team because I feel like that's what they're going into. I feel like they're going into a kind of a full on rebuild because they're gonna have to. I mean, they're gonna have to rebuild this team. They got a lot of money, and we can see what they do in free agency when it's kind of weak. But it's gonna be one of the interesting things.
And lastly, about JPJ, you think about it from a team building standpoint. Think about, let's say they do take a quarterback in the first round early next year. You have your starting center. We think year 2 of his rookie contract with your quarterback on a year 1 contract. That's a marriage at that point. Like you said, I mean, they touch each other like they're married. So, you got, it's a marriage, and it's like these, that's something you want to look at. It's like, you don't have to go out and spend, 8 million, 9 million on a center, when you have that guy in house, and then you're able to spend a little bit more on some corners, these premium positions, like the pass catchers, and left tackle, right tackle. I know there's a lot of people that view all positions as the same because it's a team sport, but the market is the market. Some of these guys get paid a lot more. And you look at teams like the Panthers that paid guards $20 million a year. And then you look at other teams that don't do that. The win-loss record's a little bit better.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. If they can stay young at the interior offensive line and do well, it's going to help the next quarterback and save them some money because I mean they got a lot of money to spend. I don't know what they're going to spend it on. I don't know what he's saving it for.
Max is getting a new deal, I think, for sure.
I think so.
What I mean, when else would you pay him? This would be the time I would pay him because
Yeah,
it's a good way to be like, relax, we'll take care of this. I think he's gonna get a deal. I think Spillane gets extended too. I do. Not that I'm not like incredibly excited by the prospect of that. And then I expect them to go out, probably overspend a little bit at wide receiver. That's what you do when you have that much money, is you overspend, like the Jaguars did with Christian Kirk and things like that. There's going to be, I agree with you that T. Higgins is a Raider next year. The dollar amount's going to make me have a stroke because the way that guy's health is, but he is good.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that, man. Yeah. It's gonna be a high amount. Raiders fans gonna be super upset how much he gets paid.
Oh, he's gonna get $30 million.
Yeah.
It's gonna make me mad a little bit, but T. Higgins and Brock Bowers, I don't hate that. When you actually when I look at the Madden, when I play Madden in August when it comes out, I'm like, damn, we have T. Higgins and Brock Bowers. I don't have to trade for anybody right away as a Raiders franchise owner.
Exactly. So, but yeah, them having a center that is actually earned the spot, and somebody said Andre James got Wally pipped. Yes, he did. So, I mean, just for him to do that kind of shows how the growth that he's showing, man. But I am excited. About JPJ a lot.
Yeah, right. I mean, he looks really good. Yeah,
he does, bro. He looks.
And a leader. He has that like leader, that kind of like guy that the defense fears. The kind, the defense gets worn down by. They got to deal with him. He's flying into people like that. We want that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. How much would you pay Sam Darnold? Oh man, I wouldn't pay Sam
Darnold. $0.00. Never liked him. I called it. People forget that he started 4-0 with the Carolina Panthers. People forget about that when that happened. He was leading the league in rushing touchdowns. This was just a few years ago. Yeah. This is what he does. Sam Darnold is a backup. I would pay top end backup money.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Would you bring him on as a spot starter?
If I had a Jalen Milroe, yes. If I had a Jalen Milroe where I don't want to just rush him out there year one, intermediate throw, still need some work and stuff, absolutely. If I draft Shedeur Sanders, somebody I expect to play early, Cam Ward, somebody I expect to play early, no, I wouldn't. But yeah, if I had a Jalen Milroe and I knew I would be, I knew I had a guy that I want to take some time with, make sure I play at the exact right time, Sam Darnold will give you 6-7 weeks of good football.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Jalen Monroe's next question though. So, do you guys think TT would like the traits of Monroe enough for a top
Yes.
5 pick, for the size and anticipation of work enough to pick him in the first?
I think he'll be intrigued by both guys, big, strong armed and stuff. But Telesco was on the staff that picked Andrew Luck. Not that that was a hard pick or anything, but that was number 1 overall, and it was like, okay, that worked out. And then you go get a Justin Herbert. I think both of those guys are extremely smart guys too, and I think Milroe is a lot smarter than people give him credit for. I think he plays smart. There's just certain throws he misses.
Yeah.
And deep down the field, I like it. I like him a lot, and I like how quick he works. He works a lot quicker, which quick to me means smart in the NFL in college. That means you see what's happening in front of you. You work quick, and I don't believe he's a check down guy, but he works quick, and I think he will like Jalen Milroe a lot.
To be honest, I still think there's a chance Milroe's the first quarterback off the board.
I agree too, and that would be an interesting prop bet if you could see that right now. I guarantee you it's like plus 800, if not more, because at the there's still the combine. Jalen Milroe is going to look like a monster at the combine. Not that that's indicative. Everybody remembers Jamarcus Russell and Johnny Manziel's combine. Everybody remembers those. I'm just saying the combine matters. People freak out. Guys are going to be doing a lot of off-season program because nobody is a slam dunk number 1 pick right now. Shedeur Sanders is playing in the East-West Shrine game.
Yeah,
it's going to be crazy. Guys are going to do all the stuff. I think, like, it's not going to be guys sitting out. I don't think.
Yeah, that was super interesting. Him going to the East West Shrine game was like,
yeah.
Man,
but Milroe, I like a lot. Milroe is my guy when I'm saying like you got a chance to find greatness out of the draft. Shedeur is my guy when I'm like league's playing a lot of too high. I think I have a hack against too high. I have a smart quarterback that I can work with. Milroe's the guy. It's like I want to set the league on fire. That's the guy I draft.
Yeah, he just has the highest upside of any of these guys.
100%.
That's the thing. Like to be honest, like when I watch him play, I like Milroe because I think he's a pocket first guy more than
Agreed.
People get credit for.
Agreed.
Right? Like he works the pocket really well, and he runs like a 4-3, and like he could run for a touchdown for 70 yards too. But he also did run NFL concepts, and he does a pretty good job reading it. And I see people talk about his intermediate throws. I mean, I gotta watch more games, but I just want to see more from him. But it's just the talent and the way he plays from the pocket. That's why I am not convinced that he is not the first quarterback off the board. And then we have the playoffs. Just to say Alabama, he just goes off.
Yeah.
The playoffs are going to tell us a lot about all these quarterbacks because I think a lot, unless Miami just shits the bed, which is possible.
They might, because I don't think they're that good.
This shits the bed, right? And Colorado might get in the playoffs. It's going to be a big deal to see how these guys perform because I mean that's when the lights are going to be bright.
Curtis Rourke and Milroe, I think, are playoff locks right now.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how Milroe performs, but he is intriguing, and even the NFL scouts. So I saw Matt Miller did a mock draft, and when he was doing the mock draft, and he had Jalen Milton going 28 to like the Steelers or something like that, and he said that the scouts say that he has the highest upside in this draft. So I'm like, okay, so if the scouts think that, and he balls in the playoffs, there is no proof that he is not the first guy off this draft. So I think that it's still kind of close to what Is it still up in the air so much? I don't think it is for fans, but I think for the NFL, this thing is up in the air.
Agreed. No, I agree 100%. I think fans love, especially fans of teams like the Raiders, Giants, Jaguars, Titans. Teams love to anoint someone to tank for, which that's Shador and Cam Ward right now. But Milroe, I'm with you. I will not be surprised if he's the first quarterback taken or the first overall pick.
Yeah, it's because it's just how talented he is, and just the way what the offense he plays in. I think somebody can convince themselves, right?
Like I said, if they fire Antonio Pierce, hire Todd Monken, bring in Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, man. I mean,
that's what I would that would get me fired up. I mean, that would get me fired up.
It wouldn't bother me either. It wouldn't bother me.
Like I said, then you get the bridge quarterback. Not even bridge, just a spot starter, 1-year deal. It might even be Gardner Minshew. I don't know, but as long as I get a guy like that on my team, in my building, working every day, I don't care who the spot starter is.
Yeah. It just be interesting to see how he plays the rest of the year. But yeah, he has a chance. Just because once I saw that quote that said that the NFL scouts say he has the highest upside, then you know that there's some team that could convince themselves, especially if he has a run and he's a winner too. There's still those guys out there. Let's get to a couple more questions and we'll get these over unders here. Jackson Dart looks destined for the second round.
Yeah, I agree.
Jackson Dart is interesting because he's a tiny guy. I didn't know how short he was.
How tall is he?
I think he's 6'1". He's listed at 6'1".
6 even. We'll give him 6 even.
We'll give him 6. Yeah, 6 even. So he's a little bit of a shorter guy. That's kind of why he's not as big of a prospect as you would think, because that's the thing with him, man, is he's short. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. I'm like, why does the NFL not like this guy? It looks like he has a pretty good arm. He can throw the ball deep. And I was like, oh, he's 6 foot. That's why.
So, yeah, and he's in that Lane Kiffin offense, which it's not necessarily. And look, you could say the same about other schools too, but that Lane Kiffin offense, is that yielding a lot of NFL quarterbacks, or is that opening up a lot of free yardage for them in college that's not there in the pros?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Matt Corral, right?
Matt Corral. Yeah, could be the spot starter, right? He's available.
Matt Corral. Probably the UFL or something. Yep. Well, QB in the draft, play well against too high.
I think it's Shador. I think Shador for now is the guy.
Yeah. Shador is Shador's a safe pick. He's a safety. He's like,
that's for me as a Raider fan, where I'm like, can I just get something that works, please? That's why I like Shador. Is like, I know it's gonna work. I know, you might be having the conversation 5 years from now, because I think Shador. Did I tell you my new comp for Shador? It's not Kirk Cousins. It's Brock Purdy.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think it's Brock Purdy.
I like that one. I do. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. Would you draft a linebacker in the second round and running back in the third?
I don't look at the draft like that. I don't. It's weird. The Raiders do not have good running backs. That is true. That doesn't mean you have to pull the fire alarm and draft the first running back you see. Find the guy, find a guy in the third or fourth round. Look at Dylan Lobby. Guess who was on the board when they drafted Dylan Lobby? Bucky Irving. Guy's a stud. Zamir White, who was on the board. I think it was Dameon Pierce, who's not that good, but had a nice. I forget who did they draft. It was Zamir White. They had somebody else on the board that was pretty good. I can't remember. Names was taking me. They've just been taking the wrong guys, and those are the fourth and the sixth round that these picks are happening. I would still prioritize the trenches and scheme over the individual running back, but I would also bring in a James Conner on a 1-year deal. I could even see them bringing in a Najee Harris on a 1-year deal. Najee Harris, somebody like that. He's a free agent in the offseason. I don't think he's going to get a huge market. I don't think he's going to have this massive market, but I would draft somebody day 3, maybe late day 2. And then I would bring in a veteran Connor, Najee Harris kind of situation.
It is a really stacked running back class.
Yeah, no, and there's a lot there. The Niners got Isaac Guerrero, who looks awesome every time he touches the ball. in like the 6th or 7th round. I mean, the Raiders just have not been taking the right running backs.
Yeah,
They're actually pretty bad at drafting them.
So I mean, because there is Ashton Genty, and then of course there's the other dude from a guy from North Carolina. I can't think of his name, but he's really good too. There's a lot
Who's
of good players.
The Iowa guy too?
Yeah, Iowa.
Cam Johnson. He's a monster.
I can't think of the damn names, but yeah, he's a really good player too. Any history of Brady and TT, or is he gone next year? No, I think they keep Tom Telesco.
No, he's going to be here. I don't. There's no reason to fire him right now.
Yeah, that's true. Would he take Travis Hunter or Ashton Genty, and with Carson Beck in the 2nd round? I mean, it's a possibility, but I think Raiders fans would be pissed if they take Carson Beck. Would they be mad if they did that, man?
I think they would for sure be mad. But yeah. Oh, I was wrong about Bucky Irving. He was a 4th round pick. So that's somebody else I'm missing on that guy. It might have been Garendo that I was missing. That I missed out on. But either way,
Hampton's a dude from North Carolina, and then I think it's Caleb Johnson.
Caleb Johnson, not Cam Johnson.
Yes. Thank you, Chad. Because we got other guys say Quinshawn Jenkins. I don't know who's Quinshawn Jenkins. See, I gotta get into this. Is my problem. I'm not super into the draft, and people follow college draft. I'm like, who the hell is Quinshawn Jenkins? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who these guys are.
The name has popped up before. I do watch a lot of college ball.
Oh, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they have a 2-headed monster there.
Yeah, I think Trayvon Henderson's still there, right?
Travion Henderson, yeah.
Travion Henderson, yeah. Yeah, so it is hard, but people get asked if we draft a quarterback. I mean, I think they will, but like I said, it's a stat class, so get a couple more questions. Where's Aaron Rodgers playing next year? Hopefully,
Tennessee Titans.
That's a good one. What would be another one? That'd be crazy. Tennessee Titans.
Minnesota Vikings, like Brett Favre. Jets the Vikings after the Packers.
You think they do that with JJ there?
No, they wouldn't. But that would be funny if that.
What about the Giants?
Nah, he's gonna have to get out of New York.
That's true.
I would say that, or I could see, Seattle Seahawks. I could see a weird thing with like Geno being out of there if they miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of AFC teams. What probably besides it really is though AFC teams that he could go to.
No, AFC's got a lot of quarterbacks. NFC, I think. Yeah, who would he? Yeah, I don't know.
Because you think about the NFC. I don't know. I don't know. Rodgers should probably retire. I'm sure he wants to keep playing. But
I think he's gonna. I don't think he wants to go out like this, and I think he's got that weird Favre thing where, or even like how we watched Mike Tyson against Jake Paul. It's like, man, they're not worried about the last time you see them. They want to keep showing. They want to keep going forever. And I feel like Rodgers wants to prove something to people. And I mean, people say the Niners. I don't think so. I think they like Brock Purdy, but yeah, I don't know. That's a tough call. I say Tennessee Titans because I think the Titans are a team that needs a veteran quarterback because they're not that bad when I watch them on defense, and they have some guys on offense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying Rodgers is the answer, and they're going to want to run the football there with the Callahans, but that would be a good spot for him. And he's out of the spotlight a little bit over there.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. All right. Is this the last year? No, I think they got Jack Jones for another year, right?
In theory, but I'm done with him.
Yeah. BD says he's playing better though, so
he's more of a willing tackler right now, but it's just like if Antonio Pierce is not there, which I still think he's going to be there, but if let's say he's not, is somebody going to come in and be like, Jack Jones is my guy? I don't know.
Yeah. So the Raiders don't have any DBs right now.
No, they sure don't.
Yeah. I mean, you got Richardson's a corner. Who's the other corner at this point? Jack Jones, right? Jack Jones. Okay, Jack Jones.
Yeah,
and then
bring up Sam Webb. Somebody like that. But I like the Cameron Richardson though. There's something there. I'm just saying it right now. Something there.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
I don't love what Patrick Graham's doing with him, but I don't know. I'm like, he's a big, strong, fast guy. Like, let's I'm with G Willie in the chat. Why didn't you just pay Amik Robertson if you were just going to leave all this money on the table? Why didn't you just pay him? Would have been, I mean, that would have been a good way to keep the continuity together. I mean, he might be just being coached better by Aaron Glen, but he's playing really well over there.
Yeah. Yeah, he kind of answers Travis Carson as a late round trade up. I mean, that wouldn't bother me, but I just know Raiders fans would be pissed.
Oh, it would be the most annoying chat night one as we react to this. The Brock Bowers thing was annoying as already. Like the fact that I was on the thing. I still remember it to this day when you told me, because you knew the pick and you said it's going to surprise you, and I was like, whoa, that did surprise me, but I liked it. And everybody's like, no, I can't believe it. Oh, and then I was like, if they were to pass on that, let's say, not even, like I said, Travis Hunter would excite the fan base because Travis Hunter is maybe the most exciting player in college football right now.
Yeah.
But like I said, what if they go like, Abdul Carter or the edge from Tennessee or something, like they get a guy that I think is really good, but isn't a quarterback? Oh my gosh, the fans will be insufferable until they draft Carson Beck or Drew. I think Drew Aller would be an interesting second round pick. And that's a Telesco guy, I think, big, strong arm guy, and
Yeah.
that would be interesting. But I would still, I think you're picking top 5 for a reason. I think you need to think about using that pick as at a quarterback. Your goal is to not be there often. And the reason you're there is because you don't have a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So I would still think about taking like a Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, it's true. Let's do the last question, then we'll get these over-unders here. How strong is Milroe's arm? Does he have a cannon to go with his great running ability? Yeah, he has a pretty big damn arm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. He's talented, man.
He's really good, I think. So we've been talking about him a lot. The thing about me is last year when I watched him, I saw a really raw prospect, and now in a year he looks so much more polished. And I love like growth from prospects. Like when you just keep getting better and better. That was my knock on Herbert, was that he had his worst year as a senior year.
Yeah,
I thought, and it was like, you regressed a little bit. With Milroe, he went from like man, everyone remembers that last play against Michigan when they lost to Michigan. It was just bad. He just looked bad on that final drive. You're like, man, that's too bad. And then this year, I'm like, man, he just looks so much better. So that improvement, that means you work hard, and that Kalen DeBoer system does look pretty good for him.
Yeah.
And I would look to try to replicate that. But I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I do like Moreau too. I like him a lot. All right. So let's get into this Broncos game. I mean, the Raiders have to play a game this week. They play the Broncos. They already played them before. They lost what?
A lot to a little. Yeah.
Well, I forgot. But they were supposed to be up 17-3 in that game. But we'll see how it goes. Gardner threw the worst interception. It just changed the whole game. The Raiders are actually playing really good defense that week too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it is just like that was a total flip game. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this game goes. See how the Raiders play. They're at home. Probably be a lot of Broncos fans there because Raiders fans are gonna be going to the game because the Raiders suck right now. So we're gonna hear about that. Oh, there's so many Raiders fans. There's so many Broncos fans here. Like, well, yeah, just like okay, it's Las Vegas and the Raiders suck. That makes sense. But so this game is happening. I mean, you gotta watch this game. So, what are some of your thoughts on this game?
I don't know. For some reason, I feel like they've done pretty well against Sean Payton defensively, pretty much since he's been the coach of the Broncos. I expect the defense to come out and play reasonably well. For me, I'm watching this game. I want to see Tyree Wilson get after it. And Tyree Wilson, it's hard to remember from last week, but he had a nice sack fumble on Tua last week. And I want to see a couple more splash plays from him. And I want to see Brock Bowers get fed. I want to see the backup running backs. I want to see if there's anything on this roster worth keeping for next year at that point. And I want to see the ball go to Trey Tucker from time to time.
Yeah.
He's anytime they throw to him, I end up being happy. And Minshew doesn't have the arm to throw to Trey Tucker down the field. But Trey Tucker, I think, is more than just a down the field receiver. And I'd like to work him in because I think he's another guy for our next quarterback that I'm intrigued by.
Yeah. I like Trey still too. They can't throw the downfield right now. So
No, not at all. That still you threw, or that all 22 of Brock Bowers. I had a little snarky comment on it that you threw of Brock Bowers getting open on that corner or that crosser, that deep cross, and I'm like, you're like, why didn't he throw us? I'm like, because he would have underthrown it and would have been a pick. It would have been even worse if he threw it.
I mean, that's what I said to BD. Like, I would have respected him more if he threw a pick here, because just because you saw it.
Yeah.
I would have more respect for him, just because he saw it, he threw it. But I guess he's like, he's like, I can't make that throw, so I'm just gonna try to run for a yard. But that's a little bit of the problem with this whole offense right now, and they can't throw downfield. I think Minshew had like a 8 out of like 3.7 last week, and they were able to move the football though. That's why I think this game might be interesting, because last week they were able to move the football. They only punted once.
Yeah.
I mean, they just didn't have the ball. Like the Raiders' offense the Raiders' offense didn't stop the Dolphins once. I don't think. I think they got a field goal.
No, the Dolphins didn't punt at all. So there was one punt to nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, so the Raiders' offense actually was able to move the ball. They converted on third down like 58% of the time. They had a good game last week. It's just the defense didn't show up. So that's going to be interesting this week. I mean, they have no corners, and the Broncos have a good offensive line. And since they have a good offensive line and Bo Nix plays good when he's not under pressure, I think you might see a chance of, this game kind of getting out of hand, or it goes the totally other way, that they find a way to get pressure and they get Bo Nix off his game like they did in the first half last time. But last time they did have Christian Wilkins in the first half. So that's going to be the big difference in this game. Hopefully they can do some better things in the back end when they're not just kind of leaving guys wide open. But that's going to be a big part of this game is can they get pressure on Bo Nix, right? They're going to have to stop the run, and they have to get pressure on Bo Nix. You get pressure on Bo Nix, he does not play well. And that is the thing since he's in college. But we'll see if the secondary can hold up enough to, keep these guys from getting open quick and force him to hold the ball. And he can make plays outside the pocket. I know I've seen it before, but you still want to make sure that he gets pressure, and maybe keep him in the pocket too. Don't let him out the pocket. Keep him in there. Try to make him make bad decisions, because he'll make bad decisions if you make him. So that's the thing with Bo Nix. But I think the Raiders' offense is going to be surprising, just because I think Scott Turner is doing a good job, and he knows how to get the ball to Brock Bowers in different ways.
And I think Mayer being back is really cool for Scott Turner. You get the two tight ends out there. It was kind of fun to see the way they used both of those guys. Shout out in the chat, Stem T, talking about, unfortunately, my guy in college, Audric Estime, which I wish the Raiders had right now. I'd been pounding the table for him to be a Raider in the draft. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's too early, Glenn." It's like, don't you wish he was a Raider though? He was he looks pretty good for the Broncos the last couple games, and it's gonna be tough to stop him. He is a load, and I think that Broncos offensive line is gelling together pretty well, and they're going to be able to run the ball pretty good. And I would like to, I would just like to see Scott Turner utilize both tight ends, and I think it's going to be tough to throw the ball to Jacoby Myers, because I think he's going to get the PS2 treatment. If they want to put Bowers on PS2, then I challenge it, because Brock Bowers is at a point where I challenge anybody covering him.
Yeah,
I do not care. I don't care if it's anybody covering him.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, so let's get to some of these start these over-unders here. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. DraftKings did not have these up, so some of these I just came off the top of my head, because I guess DraftKings does not trusted them. So some of these are this is Market Sportsbook. Okay.
Okay.
All right. But I didn't want to ruin the show. I'm like, man, what the fuck are these guys
He'll
doing?
match any bet, guys. Put your deposit down. Marcus matches it himself. Yeah.
You get a free $50 bet when you
Yeah.
sign up for Marcus
Yeah.
Sportsbook.
Yep.
All right. So let's get into this. So Minshew. I kind of just went here. I went passing yards 215.5, passing touchdowns 0.5, pass attempts 30.5, pass completions 20.5. Gardner Minshew over under here.
Pretty good numbers that you put out there. I'll say, you know what? I'm going to say over this time on the passing yards. I was wrong. He went over last week. I think he gets a passing touchdown. I think he goes over on attempts and over on complete. I think he goes over on everything. That doesn't mean the Raiders win, but I think he goes over on all these.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's why I went to 215 because I think they're going to pass the ball a lot. I think they're kind of like, we can't run the ball.
They cannot run the ball. Yeah.
They're like, yeah. I mean, maybe if they get the run game going this week and they figure it out, it gets lower. But yeah, they're going to be throwing a lot of short passes, just like they did last week. They're going to be trying to get the ball out of Minshew's hands quick. It was funny. Scott Turner's like, yeah, I asked him to get the ball out quick. It was like, oh, that's all it took was just telling Gardner Minshew, hey, man, throw the ball. And look, he threw the ball pretty quickly last week. He didn't. He still took some stupid sacks like he always does.
Always.
Right. Oh, so FanDuel has over under at 212.5. So I guess I was using DraftKings. So DraftKings didn't have it up, but FanDuel has Minshew at over under 212.5. So I was close.
Mm-hmm.
I was close.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's 3 yards. I mean, we're talking a check down. You were a check down away.
Yeah, I was close, man.
Mm-hmm.
0.5 touchdowns, pass attempts 30.5, pass completions 20.5. So yeah, but I think he hits over on all these. I still think they might throw a touchdown, but I did like this. So I do kind of expect Minshew to kind of play pretty decent. I mean, he's played decent the last couple weeks. I can't say he sucks the last couple weeks, right? I mean, there's been some good things. Of course, he's just Gardner Minshew, so it doesn't matter how good he plays. He's gonna do some Gardner Minshew shit. So there's nothing I can do about that, right? So
yeah,
you know what I mean.
He's gonna throw an interception to a guy laying on the ground already.
Exactly.
God, that was the dumbest thing. It's like how only he could do that.
Yeah, I know. It's what I'm saying. Like he just does these crazy things. Just every once in a while. That's why, like, I don't know what the vision was for him to be the starting quarterback this year. It was a weird vision, and maybe they had a backup plan. They're gonna have Aiden O'Connell win.
I think they thought they were going to draft somebody. I think they thought they were going to do what the Colts did, Anthony Richardson and Gardner Minshew. I think that's what they thought was going to happen. No quarterbacks fell to them. They took Brock Bowers. Thank the Lord that was the concession out of all of that. But that was, I think their plan was day one. We will not be without a starting quarterback, and then hopefully in the draft. And I thought there would be a quarterback that they would at least be able to pass on in the draft, and there wasn't.
Yeah. See, I look. I even got the pass touchdowns. Look, I got the pass touchdowns.
Yeah. No, yeah. There you go. For the rest of the year, we should just do yours.
Marcus Sportsbook, bro. Tell you. All right. So that was Gardner Minshew doing that. So this week is gonna be interesting. You guys let me know if FanDuel has it updated. But we got Amir Abdullah. With Amir Abdullah, I try to keep it light. I was like, I'm not gonna go like 50 yards Amir Abdullah here. Amir Abdullah 35.5, anytime touchdown plus 180. Just kind of just around this area for Amir Abdullah. I think that actually was his anytime touchdown, anyways. Was plus 180. Because they did have his anytime touchdown up there. So Abdullah gonna get some carries. What are your thoughts, Glenn?
Yeah, and I would, if I could add my own number, I would say 58.5 all-purpose yards is what I would say for Amir Abdullah. I'll take the over. It seems like they like him, and I don't mind him either. Every time I see him out there, he seems like one of the more competent players on the team, and as he should be. He's been in the league forever. I hope we don't get that much Amir Abdullah. I'd like to see Lobby, Sincere McCormick. I'd like to just see if these guys are any good. I mean, there's no reason to play this guy, but I bet they will. So I'll take the over on the rush yards.
Yeah, FanDuel 33. I'm close, man.
33.5.
33.5. I was close. This the DraftKings still doesn't have them updated. So all right. So 35.5 anytime touchdown plus 180. I think he you say so the 51.5.
I was off. Yeah.
so I think that I don't know. When Abdullah's carried the ball this year, he's actually played pretty well. And that's kind of the interesting thing. So I'm kind of interested to see how he looks when he gets like a lot of the carries, because I don't think they're going to get the ball to Lobby. For some reason, like I don't know what Lobby does. Lobby must party. Like that's why he can shuffle.
Too. And he fumble. You can't fumble.
And he shuffled really well. He was doing the shuffle. So he's an EDM guy. Maybe he's hitting the Las Vegas clubs, bro. He's hitting
with the camel pack. With the camel pack. Yeah.
He's pumping his fist at Club Tao at the MGM Grand. So, that might be, he comes from New Hampshire, man. You know what I mean? Maybe it's I don't know what, because he's in the doghouse.
As he should be. Guy goes in and he fumbles again. I mean, I'd like to see Dylan Lowby be the third down. I'd like to let's say Amir Abdullah first and second down, use him like a traditional running back, and then Dylan Lowby as like a third down kind of like, okay, it's third and long. Let's see if we can work him in the pass game. That's what I want to see. Is can Dylan Lowby run routes? That's what I want to see. That's all I want to see out of Dylan Lowby for the rest of the year. And that would be the usage rate that I'd like to see out of those guys.
Yeah. All right, we're close. I was close. Anytime touchdown plus 170.
I'm on it.
I was close, man. I was close on that one too. All right, here we go. So let's get to Jacoby Myers. Now they did have Jacoby Myers up, which is super interesting. I don't know why this is the only guy they had up. But Jacoby Myers receptions 5.5, receiving yards 55.5, anytime touchdown plus 250. So your thoughts on Jacoby Myers?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think he's going to get the PS2 treatment. I still take the anytime touchdown though. The guy just finds the end zone. He does. He finds the end zone. I would take that at plus 250. Absolutely. The rest of them, I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, the receptions, maybe, but I think the yards is playing with, it's a little dangerous because how much Brock Bowers is getting the football.
Yeah. I mean,
right. And obviously they have, that's their Scott Turner and North Turner looked at each other as like, okay, how do you get the ball to Brock Bowers? And they tried every single way possible to find ways to get him the football. So I think that is going to be the key to all of this, is that they're throwing to Brock Bowers. Right.
Yeah. And Brock had that big touch. His first career touchdown was at Mile High with the big, the crazy mossing that he did. They're going to be throwing to Brock. I mean, North Turner had Antonio Gates. I think he understands when he sees an absolute cheat code position. And Myers, shout out Jacoby Myers. I hope they find a way to keep him. I hope he's happy. I would understand if he wasn't, but I hope they find a way to keep him for next year's quarterbacks. I think he'd be a really good safety net for a rookie quarterback. So I hope they find a way. But this game, I think it's not a good matchup for him.
Yeah. So FanDuel's a little different here, but this was directly from DraftKings. DraftKings actually had this.
Wow, plus 280 on FanDuel for anytime touchdown. I would take that.
Yeah, I would.
Especially if they're down. If they're down like 15 points, Jacoby Myers is for sure getting a touchdown.
Yeah. But there's a chance though, because I mean he had his second most targets on the team, so I don't know what their plan is this week. Maybe they mix it up, but they're probably going to try to get Surtain on Myers, get him outside to kind of, and then let Bowers work against these linebackers and stuff like that. That's probably going to be their goal.
Yeah.
Right. Which brings me to Brock Bowers.
This is your guess. I think you're low.
Yeah, I think I was a little low. I tried to go with what Vegas would do, because Vegas isn't really.
Come on, Recef. Let me know in the chat.
I went a little low on this one, but I just kind of went with what Vegas was maybe thinking. But the anytime touchdown was there anyway, so that was plus 185. That was on DraftKings. So receptions 5.5. I did go low on the yards though. But I was like, they're not gonna put like 70 or 80 yards for Brock Bowers, would they? So I
I could
tried to
see. I would say 63.5 would be my
63 and a half.
would be
Yeah,
my over under.
I went conservative here. I did go conservative because I also do believe that teams are going to start trying to find ways to stop him and make them go other places. But I do. I mean, they're going to find ways to give him the damn football. So I'm hitting over on all of these. I don't know what it is on FanDuel, but yeah, I, I'm hitting everything over on Brock Bowers and
Yeah.
anytime touchdowns until I feel like it's not. So okay, that's 6.5.
Oh, I was almost there. Oh, I almost
Okay.
had it.
So
Yeah.
I was a catch and 10 yards off. Yeah, but basically a catch off. But I knew it was gonna be somewhere around there because even with how he's been playing, if you think about it, he has 70 catches on the year, and it's been 5.5 like all year. If you think
Yeah.
about it, Glenn.
You could be making a lot of money off Brock Bowers while you wallow in the misery of the Raiders season.
Yeah, but see, they have his anytime just 250, but that's crazy. I don't think.
Oh, wow. Well, he only has 3.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. He only has 3, but yeah, he does have 2 in the last
Yeah, he's
games.
getting hot. He's getting hot at that regard. I mean, that touchdown, that was such a sick touchdown against Miami. I mean, that was
Yeah.
so nice. But yeah, with Brock, man, I just wish they could run the ball. Can you imagine being able to run the ball and then being able to use Brock? Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
Yeah, I could imagine, bro. I could imagine.
Hopefully next year they're able to run the football. Jackson Powers Johnson getting out in space. Brock Bowers. I see the vision, but right now it's not there. Right now the offense is spam 89, and I'm fine with that because that's what I would do too if I saw this personnel and this record. That's what I would do, and I take it over on everything plus the anytime touch, especially at 280? As I said.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
250 plus 250
Oh,
on
250.
FanDuel.
Okay, 250. Myers was
It was
250.
185 on DraftKings. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Okay. All right. So game line. And then we'll get back to you guys' questions here. -6 Broncos. I put Miami. Sorry, guys. Ignore that. But -6 Broncos plus 210 LV -258 Broncos over under 41.5. What are you thinking here?
I think the best play is the over.
Think so?
Yeah, 41.5 is low. I think the Broncos are going to put up around 24 to 27 points. I think the Raiders are going to probably have, like, I see this game being like 27-18 Broncos. So I think that goes over there. I take the Broncos to cover. Wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders, like they always do, make it close early and then unravel later. That being said, if they were to steal a game, I think it's going to be one of these next two. Yeah, a division game. You know, I could see that, or the Charger game. I could see them taking a division game at some point. Kind of just getting a ugly, just winning like an ugly like 16-10 game or something. If the Raiders win, it's going to go under. But if it goes the way I think it is, where the Broncos win,
Yeah.
then it's going to go over. So I think your best bet is over 41.5 for this game.
Yeah, if if the Raiders didn't have any corners or anything like that, I would feel better about this game. But they just don't have a secondary right now.
Yeah,
Jack Jones is going to be playing. I know Karen Richard played last week, but you kind of saw they couldn't get off the field.
yeah.
Really, still,
It was tough.
it was tough.
That being said, the Broncos don't necessarily have those, like, I know how easy it looked for Miami last week, but the Broncos don't have like Tyreek Hill and those type of guys either. Like they don't have those players. I think they'll have a bit easier time getting off the field than they did against Miami.
Yeah, and I think it does hit the over though. I do, because I think the Raiders' offense is going to play better than people think. So, and even if they find a way to run the ball this week, because saying they got different running backs in there, we'll see. But I think the Raiders' offense is going to push the over. So that was what I would go with. If you want to be, if you want to be a fan and you believe in the Raiders, you take that +6. But I probably wouldn't do it at this point.
No,
because the Raiders either win or lose by more than 10. So.
No, it was 100%. And if it would have to be 8.5 for me to even think about the Raiders covering.
Yeah.
Sad. It's a sad state of affairs.
It really is, man. It's real sad here. All right, let's get some more of these questions. Thanks again for the shout out on TDL review. Anyways, would you say that Ward, Sanders, and Rowe would be better picks than Penix, Nix, and McCarthy? And what about Beck?
Okay, so Ward, Sanders, Milrow better than Nix, Penix, and McCarthy. Yes, I would.
Okay. All right. I agree because I think Ward, but besides Penix, I think Penix is probably better than these guys. But I think Ward, Sanders, and Moreau are better than Nix and
Is Penix better than these guys?
I think so.
We haven't. I mean, we see him coming in garbage time, but Penix is coming out. I mean, you think about what you're drafting too. You're drafting a guy with 2 catastrophic knee surgeries with Penix, shoulder surgery. Like, these guys are healthy. Ward, Sanders, Milrow. I don't know. To me,
Penix has some throws on film that none of these guys really have.
Yeah, it's true, but he also had the most. I mean, you're talking about a loaded offense that he came from with Kalen DeBoer, who's coaching Alabama right now.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking about Roger Rosengarten, who was the other lineman. You had Roma Dunze, Jalen McMillan, Jalen Polk. It's like, man. No, Penix can make the throw. Down to down, I still like a lot of these other guys better.
Yeah, with Penix, because it's interesting, with the offensive room of Jalen Monroe is different than the offensive room of Penix. Like, they try to stretch the field as much as possible with Penix. So it's a little different than what they do with Monroe. But man, that's my thing with Penix is I know that he can stretch the field.
Yeah, he's got the arm.
Sure.
He's got the arm.
But Bo Nix is a little up and down for me, anyways. JJ McCarthy, I thought he was more of a game manager too. And then Carson Beck is he's just having a bad year. But I mean, he, like I said, he has the playoffs too. I mean, we talk about
he'll be there.
Guys. He's gonna be there.
I hope we get Beck versus Milrow again. I hope we get that again to watch.
Yeah, and Beck against Tennessee last week, he played really well against Tennessee.
He really did, and he started slow, but had a phenomenal second half. I thought.
Yeah. Isn't Jameis Winston a free agent next season? As a spot starter, but yeah, Jameis is.
I like the idea of Jameis playing for a team I don't care about, so I can be happy. That's my thing about Jameis Winston. I love his interviews. I do. I like him a lot. He's got a big arm. Every once in a while, he reminds you why he was number 1 overall pick. I think me watching him as a critical Raider fan would cloud my opinion of Jameis Winston. Whereas if I watched him playing for a team that wasn't that good, and I was rooting for him as this folk hero, then I'd be excited.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Curious. Do you guys think AP harping on guys all year to not turn the ball over above us made ASC play super tight and conservative?
No, I just don't think Aiden O'Connell. I think the problem is they just didn't have the answer, and I think the media was right about the Raiders, and we're all coping with that.
Yeah, man. I just think the Raiders are just they just weren't prepared for what Luke Getsy liked to do with the quarterbacks they had, and then
it was a
change.
Square peg round hole, and maybe either side wasn't like Getsy and the quarterbacks probably both bad, but also mismatched.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah,
I 100% agree with that. All right, so let's get these NFL games, man. Let's talk NFL here. We got the other rest of the week spread. So we got Cardinals, Seahawks, Ravens, Chargers, Ravens, Eagles, Lions, Colts. So Cardinals, Seahawks, spread, -1, Seattle. Money line -12, Seattle, -108, Arizona, over under 47.5. Your thoughts on this game, Glenn?
I think this is the game of the day. I mean, this is a NFC West huge game. I mean, if the Cardinals win this, I mean, think about what the Cardinals are at. They're 6-4 right now, coming off the bye. They are in first place in the NFC West, and the Niners are playing at Green Bay, possibly in the snow, without Brock Purdy and Nick Bosa. So the Cardinals have a chance to win this game and pretty much assert themselves as dominating the NFC West. I like the Cardinals in this game. I don't think the Seahawks home thing is real anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong, but have you watched Seattle at home? It's not the same as Cam
Mm-mm.
Chancellor, Earl Thomas, Russell Wilson. It's not the same. I'm going Cardinals money line in this game. It's not you don't get a lot by going money line, but I'm taking that. I also think it's going to be a sloppy game. I would take the under, but I think the best bet is Cardinals money line.
See, the thing is about these games, and I'm going to talk about ASU versus BYU later.
Yeah,
Is that these are just the games that like Arizona teams lose.
I'm with you. It's a huge game. It's a huge test game. I'm with you.
It's a huge game. You're like, okay, we could be in first place for sure.
The red carpet's laid out for us.
The 49ers don't have a quarterback this week. The quarterback hurt their shoulder. We already beat the 49ers.
I'm with you.
We have a chance to be in first place by ourselves up 2 games, and they go lose. This is the ultimate Arizona thing. I lived here, most of my life. I've seen these type of teams where they have this chance.
Yeah. Okay.
And they just end up just blowing it in some stupid way. Like Kyler Murray has like his worst game of his year, of the career, worst game of the year, and just struggles, right? Those type of games. But that's kind of why I lean Seattle, just because.
Okay.
Arizona is just.
But you could easily see a Geno meltdown in the same spot, right? Seattle has a chance to actually really get back into this race. They won a kind of a game they should have lost against the Niners, and Geno Smith has like Arizona Cardinals tendencies, I think, like where he's just anytime everyone, Geno, isn't it so great that he's doing so well? And then everybody sits down and watches him, gets their beverage of choice, their snack of choice, and watches, and they go, holy shit, this guy sucks. Like that happens a lot. I think it's going to be an ugly game. I would say, in my opinion, it's a 23-20 Cardinals win. That's why I lean under, but I wouldn't bet it. I think it's going to be a wacky game too.
Me too, man.
Ball just bouncing everywhere, weird turnovers. Just those like whenever it'll be one of those games where I have the NFL Sunday Ticket game mix, kind of how you had this game divided by 4. That's my Sunday Ticket game mix, and then I'll be looking in the corner, and be like, what the hell is going on in Seattle? And there's just flags everywhere, and the ball bouncing all over the place. It's gonna be one of those games.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Rams versus Eagles.
Oh, the Rams are going to get their ass kicked. This is a bad matchup for them.
You think so? All right.
The Rams are overperforming for what they are. The Rams have a young defensive line. They have a young stud defensive line. Braden Fisk, Jared Verse, Kobe Turner, Byron Young. All those guys are in year 1 or year 2 of their contract. They are going to be good for a long time. The problem is what the Eagles do is they're going to run weird screen things and make these guys get way too excited and take the cheese, as Mike Martz would say. That's what they're going to do all day to them. They're going to get these young guys to think they have a free rush at the quarterback. And the Eagles are playing damn good football. And then the Rams offensive line on the other side, the Eagles defense, the Fangio has really implanted himself there in Philly now. The Fangio defense has taken full effect in Philly, and I think they have the corners to cover the wide receivers. Puka and Cooper Kupp will still get theirs, but Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, all these guys are I think they're gonna make plays. And Blankenship, the exciting whites, as they say on the internet. I think the Eagles are going to cover. There's going to be a lot of Eagles fans at that stadium. The Rams are the worst, and the problem is with this matchup is the Rams are the worst first quarter team in the NFL. And what do you want to do when your team's full? When your home stadium is full of the opposing team's fans? You want to have a good first quarter, to shut them up. And I don't think they are going to. I think the Eagles are going to win this game. I'm going for the Rams, but I think the Eagles are going to win this game and cover.
See, the Rams have like the worst run defense in the league. That's why
they do. They do.
Since Saquon Barkley,
it's a bad matchup.
He's like on pace for like 2,000 yards. So I think that Saquon Barkley goes off. So
that running back Zoom meeting really actually was just a year in advance.
I
That they
guess
all had.
well, it was run by Austin Eckler. Who wants to be Austin Eckler? I don't know.
Yeah, he's the one. He was the martyr of the bunch. But yeah,
Like,
Jacob's having a nice year, and Barkley
Jacobs make us play.
Barkley is balling. Barkley is balling.
I was laughing at Jacobs because people talk about the red zone, right? The Raiders suck in the red zone. The Raiders are 15th in the red zone this year, right? It's probably the highest they've been in like years. Like they haven't been the highest in years. And so, a lot of people got on Derek Carr for the red zone. I always said it was Josh Jacobs, but now Josh Jacobs is gone. They're 15th, and the Packers were 28th, which I think is
It's
hilarious.
very strange. Yeah, very strange. And also just the fact is when Raider fans do their like fan edits, like I miss Josh Jacobs. I'm like, how many wins do they have this year with Josh Jacobs? 3? That's what I mean. Like, oh man, I miss having a 4-win season instead of 3. It's even better that they let him go now. Because why would you want him doing eyeball emojis every week?
Yeah,
online with his Marvin's Room Drake thing that I always talk about. Like they didn't replace him adequately. That's fair to say, but it's not a guy I think they should have given a big contract to.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, he's just not good in short yardage. That was always my thing, and that's showing too on the Packers because they suck in the red zone now, and they got Josh Jacobs. All right, Ravens versus Chargers, the Harbaugh Bowl.
Yeah. So the spread is 2.5 Baltimore, minus 2.5 towards Baltimore. The over under is 51. I like the under. Actually, I like the under. I think this game's going to be nasty. I think it's going to get ugly and nasty. I think we're going to get a meltdown by Lamar. But I also think the Ravens have a chance to win this game. The Chargers. Okay, we're talking about a Cincinnati Bengals team that loses close games. The Cincinnati Bengals could easily be 7-4, but they're not.
Yeah,
for a reason. Their defense stinks.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens have a good run defense, and the Chargers are going to want to run the football. Now that I think Herbert's going to be able to get some yards on the ground, and I think Ladd McConkey's going to eat. I think even guys like Will Dissly and Quentin Johnson are going to be able to go against that weak Ravens secondary. But I think the Ravens are going to bounce back in this game. And I think the worst thing to happen to the Chargers was the Ravens losing to the Steelers last week. So I'm going to take Baltimore covering in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to take Baltimore too. I think the Chargers, they barely beat the Bengals last week. And even I think when they started, I think they got a little pass happy with Herbert last week. And,
they were feeling themselves. Yeah.
He was like 6 for 23 in the second half or some shit like that, right? Like he wasn't.
Remember that pick six? How about that drop pick 6 in the fourth quarter by the Bengals? That was the one. Nobody's talking about that. That would have ended the game.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if the Ravens can get them to start passing, they're not a good passing team. Let's keep it real, right? Mm-hmm. They are based off. They just scored like 3 touchdowns in their first 15. They had their first 15 script. Get scored 3 touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like that's how they were killing them. And once they got past that, it was a little different. But that's why I like the Ravens in this one. I think the Ravens are just a better team.
Agreed. The Chargers are our premium mid. In my opinion.
Exactly. They've been beating teams that aren't good all year, right?
They're like the Broncos. They're very similar Broncos team. Very similar to the Broncos.
Yeah, because I don't think they beat a team over 500 all year. I don't think so.
No, they haven't. And this is going to be one of those games where, and I expect it to get ugly. I don't think it's going to be a blowout on either side. Like I think the Har Bowl thing does lend itself to a close game at least. And I think people are Charger happy because every media person has been picking them to win the Super Bowl since Tupac died. So I would say that they're just trying to validate that right now with the 7-3 record. Oh, now the Chargers are back. They're probably a playoff team this year.
Yeah, they probably make playoffs.
I don't think they're that good.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so. All right, and then Lions versus Colts. We got spread a 7.5. Detroit. Detroit's highly favored in this one. What do you think about this one?
This is my upset of the week.
You're going.
So last week, my upset of the week was the Patriots over the Rams, and they almost had it. They almost had it. It was down to it was close till the end. They didn't cover, but whatever. It was 28-22. It was a battle. This game will be a battle. If you don't want to take the upset, I think when you get that hook, that 7.5, that extra 0.5, I think the Colts are going to cover. The Colts are weirdly frisky. I like the over as well. This is going to be indoors, and Colts lightweight have a receiving core a little bit.
They do. Yeah,
they do. Adonai Mitchell, Michael Pittman. Like, there's some guys there.
Alex Pierce,
Josh Downs. I mean, I know they got guys. I mean, it's not household names, but they got guys.
Yeah.
And the Detroit, I think this game's going to be similar to the Texans game that Detroit played. I think they're going to be frustrated by the Colts, and I think everybody's expecting them to blow them out, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to bet against Detroit at this point because Detroit, they put up so many points. I mean, they're so good on offense. Gus Bradley, he plays his little cover 3 system. But it's gonna be interesting to see if they can get pressure. I mean, that's the whole thing about Jared Goff. I mean, Jared Goff has the best offensive line in football.
Agreed.
And that's what makes it so easy for him to kind of get these things done. But I believe that the Colts were. I think they can cover. I think they'll cover this game and play pretty well because they're still a well-coached football team. So I think they'll cover that game. But I still want to go. I'm still going the Lions. If you're going money line, if you want to, I mean, it's a high money line. You're not gonna make much money off it. But I think the Lions still win the game. But I think it's just a lot closer than people think. And the Colts pull that off though. That'd be crazy. But
7.5 is a nice line for the Colts. I think that's just a smart play. On the road, I know it's indoors, and Detroit is probably. I don't want to discount the Chiefs here, but they might be the best team in football.
Yeah.
But the best team in football oftentimes has to battle hard, and that doesn't mean the best team in football covers multiple touchdown scores.
Exactly. I agree with that. All right. College football this week.
Nasty lineup. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, you picked my guys. Oh, my guys are in there. Oh,
yeah. I mean, it was 19 versus 6. I mean, you had to put that game in there.
Yeah, and it was also a game from 1906. Yeah.
Yeah, it's classic. This is classic.
Yeah,
college football.
God.
Yeah. I mean,
prohibit. I don't even know if alcohol was allowed. Yeah, when that was happening.
All right. So Indiana versus Ohio State, ASU versus BYU, Colorado versus Kansas, Army versus Notre Dame. Indiana versus Ohio State. So I mixed this up. It's supposed to be Ohio State -10. Sorry, guys.
No, yeah. Indiana is getting 10 points.
Yeah. They're plus. Yeah, I thought that was crazy though.
Agreed.
So I would take Indiana covering the spread.
You have to. For the, I mean, just for your watching experience, Ohio State is going to win this game by 3 points. We all know it. It's going to be Ryan Day, his press conference, like, oh my guys, I can't believe it. And all the Ohio State fans are going to hate Ryan Day secretly because he sucks, but they spend $9 trillion bajillion in NIL deals that allow them to overcome the Ryan Day factor every year. And I think Indiana covers the 10 points. I'm rooting for them just because I want to see Curtis Rourke have a big game. Let's make this quarterback thing kind of fun in the draft. But I like the under, though. I think this is going to under 53 for me personally.
Yeah, I agree with you on the under. I do think Indiana covers this game because I don't think Ohio State's going to just beat their ass. I mean, I don't know why they're. I get Ohio State's at home and it's Indiana, but I don't agree with that at all. I don't know.
10. That shouldn't be a 10. It should be like a 5.5.
Yeah, I agree. I think easy take Indiana spread for that one. All right, Arizona State versus BYU. This game makes me worried.
Okay, so the line is 3.5.
Yeah, ASU's favored. That is not wrong.
Favored by 3.5, which is not wrong. Quite interesting.
I did not mess that one up.
BYU money line is plus 142. The over under is 49. Marcus, talk me out of betting BYU plus 142. Talk me out of it. Tell me about it. I know you said we're going to wipe the slate clean about the thing you said about the Arizona Cardinals in big games. Tell me why Arizona State can at least win and cover this game.
I think Arizona State can win and cover this game because I think, Cam
Scatibo.
Cam Scatibo is a really great player. I think Sam Levis playing really well. The wide receiver, I can't think of his name right now. I think it's Jordan Young. I think his name. He's balling out of his mind. He's a sophomore. That dude, I think he's a first round pick in the future.
Okay.
So I think offensively they are really good right now. They're rolling. I say Levis playing well. He is finding Jordan Young like crazy. Skeeter Bow is playing fantastic and he's healthy. I just think the letdown would be that, like I said before, this is Arizona. It's a big game. I'll never because I always remember when Arizona with Jake Plummer, they went to the Rose Bowl, they were undefeated, and they played an Ohio State team.
Yeah.
And the Ohio State quarterback got hurt. And they went up like 20, they went up like 17-14. And Joe Germain went down the field and scored a touchdown. And there's Michael Jordan hitting the 3, game 6.
What do you think Joe Germain is doing right now?
I don't even know what to say. What is Joe Germain? What is he? Probably has some business in Ohio or something like that. He probably is like some stupid business in Ohio right now. Joe Germain. So it's those things with Arizona teams that I just don't. As soon as I saw that line, I was like, they're favored. I was like, oh no. I'm like, why are they favored? The other team's 9-1, and I know they haven't played well the last couple weeks, but if ASU pulls this one off, I mean, I think this would be about the coaching and the coaching that they have and having them prepared and getting ready for this game, because this is definitely an ASU letdown game. I wouldn't do it. If I'm telling fans, like if I'm telling other people, like me as an ASU fan, I'm going to do it just because I want ASU to win. But if I was a fan, I would. If I'm telling other people to do this, I would take BYU just because it feels like ASU just always has a way to just let everybody down. I don't know. It has that feeling, but we'll see. If they pull this one off, man, and they win the Big 12. That'd be crazy. But man. It's rough for me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
I know I think the smart play is BYU money line. I mean, I hate to say it. I'll be rooting for your guys. Honestly, I will be. Now Joe Germain, I looked him up while you were doing all this.
Yeah.
Oddly coaching high school in Arizona since 2007.
Oh, interesting.
He recently in as far as February in 2024. He's coaching in Northeast Mesa right now, the ALA's newest school to open in Northeast Mesa this fall. Mountain View. He led Mountain View to a state championship in 1993 as a quarterback now. So now he's taken over that. So he's an Arizona guy, which I didn't know, which is crazy. So now he's coaching. He's been a high school coach since like 2006.
Wow.
So I love that. But no, I love that. I love these trauma games where you're able to exercise some demons here. So I'm going for your guys against BYU. I think BYU is not that good. The problem is like you said, Arizona State, this is kind of like make or break for their season. And when it's make or break, do you trust Arizona sports?
The Arizona sports only has one championship, guys, and it's the Diamondbacks. The
Samoan Mormons or Arizona State sports, you pick.
Exactly. Like the Suns have the most regular season wins from like any team that has never won a championship in like all sports.
Yeah. The Diamondbacks on an expansion somehow.
Somehow, some way.
They did it. You're right.
All right. Army versus Notre Dame.
Yeah, you got it as Norte Dame, like they're gangbangers, but yeah, they're Nortes. But yeah, the spread is Notre Dame minus 14, and this is the 19th ranked Army. This is our armed forces playing Notre Dame. Now, this game is at a neutral site. They're playing at Yankee Stadium. Have you ever heard of it? And the over-under is 45.5. Now, one thing I like about Notre Dame, now Lou Holtz used to always say this. Lou Holtz back in the day used to say, I always got pissed off when I had to play against service academies against another big school, right? So because they would chop block you, they'd kick your ass like in the trenches. After a while, you'd be able to wear them down because the armed forces don't have 300-pound people. They don't. There's 330-pound tackles in the Navy and Army. Notre Dame is built with Riley Leonard. They are a supercharged armed forces team right now with Riley Leonard. They're big, strong, and fast, and they have Jeremiah Love, who is insane right now. The guy is crazy. I don't know that they cover this game, but Notre Dame has been whipping people's ass lately, and
I know
they haven't. They don't get a lot of respect. Everybody wants them to join a conference. I expect them to join the Big Ten in the offseason this year. I do, because you can't get the top 4 seed in the new playoff without joining a conference. So I expect them to join the Big Ten. Right now, they're not getting a lot of respect as the 6th ranked team in the nation because who have they beat? Well, Georgia Tech is undefeated at home. Texas A&M, they've beaten some good teams, and they've beaten them pretty handily. I don't blame anybody for taking Notre Dame covering this game. They should win.
I think they should win this game. Army's undefeated, right?
They are, but they've literally played like the U.S. when they take over a country and it's no chance. That's who they've played in terms of college football. Like they haven't played anybody. And Notre Dame beat the brakes off of a ranked Navy team earlier this year.
I did see that.
I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump's at this game and stuff. It's just one of those. It's one of those type of games. Army is good. They're a good team, but I wouldn't overthink this. 14's a lot, though.
14 is a lot. 14 is a lot. That's the thing.
Should be a 10.5. It should be 10.5.
I might take the plus 14, but last time I did that with Navy and Notre Dame beat them.
But my thing is what is Army's passing game? You're down 14 and you need the pass. That's the problem with these service academies is that it's you need to pass, and it's they view that as nuclear codes. They're I need to hack this right now. They're what are the nuclear codes? I need to throw the ball 15 yards. And they're should we do it? I don't know.
Oh, that's so true. All right, Colorado versus Kansas. This is another game I had.
No. This is great. This is great. Colorado's. I'm hoping they make the playoff this year. I think it makes for an exciting playoff. Colorado's favored by 2.5 here. The over/under is 59.5. I like the over in this for sure. I think this is going to be a shootout. Kansas can score points. They have Jalen Daniels, who, if you can't afford Jaden Daniels,
you can take Jalen Daniels.
Great value. You take Jalen Daniels. He's a guy when you're betting on him as an underdog, you get excited because he can throw the football. He can throw the ball, he can run the ball, he can make big plays happen. But Colorado doesn't have a run game, which has kind of bothered me a little bit. They can break off big runs late when they're up by a lot, but down in a 1-score game, I worry about that. That being said, I'll still take Colorado minus 2.5. I think they're on a mission right now. And Dion hasn't been saying anything. It's just been really quiet. They've been kind of becoming a real football program, and I think this is their year to make the playoffs.
See this one. I'm gonna go on. I think Kansas upsets them.
Oh my gosh! I hope not.
I think Kansas beats them just because I think Colorado's on a roll. They play a lot of good teams, but I think Kansas has just been a team that is very sneaky, and if you don't go in there taking them serious, they'll beat you. So I think
they are solid. They are
So,
solid.
so I mean that's why the line is so low. I was pretty shocked by the line. Like if you look at the Indiana line, and then you look at the Kansas for Colorado, like it doesn't make any sense. But it kind of does because if if Kansas comes to play, they could maybe upset Colorado because I think Colorado's a good football team. They're just not a great football team. So like you're right, they can't run the ball. They have the most sacks in college football, mostly because they get up on people.
Yep. Yep.
But I mean, maybe they don't. If they don't get up in this game, we'll see. But I mean, yeah, it's gonna be Sugar Sanders. This is his goal to lead them to the Big 12 championship. So he's gonna have to make some plays here. But uh, I'm leaning. I'm leaning Kansas on this one. I am.
Wow, this will be interesting. And I gotta apologize to my folks for taking the San Jose State Spartans. That was the worst beat of all time. Scott Van Pelt had a bad beat segment on it.
Yeah.
It was bad. They had 2 chances to cover that against Boise State. Oh my gosh. It's my hometown guys. It was bad. I was supposed to go to that game. My dad was sick. I'm so glad I missed it. I mean, the best timed cold of all time. It was just, it was brutal. They had a chance to cover the 14.5. They had a pick 6. They were down 7, and they threw a pick 6 in the red zone, then a sack fumble in the red zone again.
Oh wow, that's the worst.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's the type of thing where you bet the house on that, your wife starts packing everything and
Exactly.
leaving. Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I apologize to anybody that did that. If you don't have a house, there's perhaps some charities we could donate to.
Yeah, we can help you out.
Yeah,
Bro.
I do support your right to housing, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. So I don't see any more questions here, guys. So we are out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Of course, we try to do this every Friday, but what I'm saying, some things happen, but we try to be here every Friday for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let us know in the comments if you guys enjoyed it. Also, like I said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Get everything to get this channel going. We are at 11,000 subscribers, but definitely get us to 12,000.
Yes.
So yeah, share with your friends, get all that stuff, guys, all that good stuff. We are out of here, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Peace.